What's up guys, it's Evan TechSource and welcome to Setup Wars episode 142, where you submit your desk setup to get featured on the channel. So if you guys want to participate, make sure to watch the video link below. But before we jump into the show, I do want to say a few things. One, this is a new temporary set that we're working on. We are still trying to move stuff around in the office to make a perfect set, and we still haven't gotten our rug, which is why the audio sounds a little echoey and there's a little reverb in it. I promise you guys the next episode is going to sound a lot better. But anyways, with that said, yeah, let's just let the setup wars begin. Kicking off the episode is Angel and his setup that's used for gaming, content creation, and streaming. It features 3 Acer 144Hz monitors that are hooked up against the wall, and a little bit of my fanboy side came out looking at those Kingdom Hearts posters. He's also rocking the Corsair STRAFE RGB keyboard, a SteelSeries Rival 100 mouse, and a dope looking extended mouse pad. I don't know if that's custom made or not, but I'm sure someone in the comment section can educate me on who that is and what game it's from, if it's even from a game. For audio, he's got a blue Snowball Eye setup with an LG soundbar and a pair of Status Audio headphones. In some pictures, the soundbar isn't shown, and there's even a picture where the entire wall is covered in acoustic foams. So I'm not sure if these were taken at different times or if this was one of his previous setups. The PC powering it all has a 4790K, 16 gigs of RAM, and an EVGA GTX 1070 in SLI. I don't think your RAM sticks are in the correct slots to take advantage of dual channel, but the rest of the PC is looking clean. Wrapping up the setup is the cable management. Everything is hooked up against the desk and the rest of the wires are attached to one of the legs. Nicely done. It's a great setup with personality. I mean, everything has its own purpose and there aren't any extra items on the desk that aren't being used. Well done, Angel, and thank you for entering. Next up is Bryan from Canada and his contrasty black, white, and red setup that he uses for gaming, entertainment, and work. It's interesting that he separated both of his monitors like this, and honestly, if you ask me, it looks really good. It's actually more balanced this way as opposed to sticking it side by side. It's also not going to get in the way of gaming or watching videos. I personally hate having another monitor next to the one I'm gaming on or watching videos. It's kind of distracting regardless if it's on or off. For audio, he's rocking a pair of Audio Engine A2 Plus speakers. We also got the Corsair Void wireless RGB headset, and he's even got a Blue Yeti microphone hooked up to a boom arm. I gotta say, everything is nicely organized and spaced out. It's not cramped, and everything has its own purpose. I also like how you drill a hole to route the cable for the STRAFE keyboard and 2 charging cables for easy access. Speaking of cables, Bryan did an excellent job with the cable management. We have a Signum rack that's holding up majority of the wires, and he even hooked up a power strip against the wall. I also noticed some cable clips holding the wires against the table and some Velcro straps to group the cables together. Nicely done. Last but not least, we have the PC that's powering everything, and it's equipped with a 7700K, which by the way is delidded. We also got an EVGA GTX 1080 FTW with the PowerLink. Now personally, I'm not a fan of the PowerLink because it pushes the cables off to the side. The only reason you should use a PowerLink is if you're going with the ugly stock PSU cables, because that way you can route the cables to the side so it's not as visible. But if you're going with custom sleeve cables like Bryan did over here, I would personally would have loved to see them in the front. Regardless, this is a very sexy and balanced setup with personality and purpose. Well done, and thank you, Bryan, for entering. At number 3, we have David and his setup for gaming. Well, technically he has 2 setups, one for PC gaming and the other for console gaming, judging by the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox controllers on the desk. He also has a MacBook Pro for when he needs to be on the move. So the PC setup features an ultrawide from Samsung that's hooked up on a desk mount, and below that we got some Razer gear, the Black Widow X Chroma keyboard and the Naga Chroma mouse. For audio, he's rocking the super tiny iHome Bluetooth speaker and a pair of Astro A50s that are hanging from the desk. And speaking of the desk, I like how he propped it up using some risers. Now he has extra storage space between the tabletop and the Alex drawers. Cable management seems to be in order thanks to the Signum rack, and the PC powering everything has a 4690K and the EVGA GTX 1070 inside the NZXT S340 Elite case. That's pretty much it for this setup, pretty straightforward. Thank you, David, for entering. Next up is Zane with his insane quad display setup that he uses for pretty much everything. from gaming to streaming and occasionally editing for his dead channel. And I swear that is what he wrote in his notes. I'm not insulting his channel. In fact, my editor will show you the notes for proof. He also says that he loves streaming on Twitch. I mean, this is one hell of an overkill setup for streaming, but check him out if you guys want. I'll drop a link to his Twitch channel down below. Also, let me remind you guys that he's only 14 years old. However he acquired this setup doesn't matter. What's really impressive is how clean and organized he kept it. The first row of monitors are hooked up on the desk mount, and the top ultra-wide from LG is hooked up against the wall as an overhead. He also routed some RGB strips behind them, and you guys can also see how he did the cable management. He pretty much grouped up all the wires together and ran them straight down behind the monitor mount and tied them together using Velcro straps. He also drilled a hole right next to the monitor mount for both of his keyboard and mouse cables. For audio, he's only using a gaming headset from HyperX, which is hanging neatly from a hanger on the left side of the desk. However, for his mic setup, he's rocking an AT2035 microphone that's hooked up to the popular Rode PSA-1 boom arm. There's one thing I noticed about this setup, and that's the lighting umbrella on the top right corner of the monitors. Now, he put that there to block the Philips Hue bulb from lighting his face. I guess it's very distracting for him. Obviously, there's an easy fix to this, and you can buy a desk lamp with a built-in clamp. Now, this way you can swap the bulb inside with your RGB one and have it clamped to the monitor mount. Not only will it be hidden behind your monitors, but it will not be hitting you directly in the face, while at the same time giving off some extra lighting for your setup. Another thing I noticed is that your PC is being blocked off by a monitor, and this is actually a simple fix because you have a ton of extra space on the left side. Now, if it's possible, I would move all the monitors to the left a bit so that your PC isn't being blocked off. I'm guessing the only reason you haven't done this already is because it requires a lot of work. Not only do you have to remove all three monitors and remount them, but you actually have to re-drill new holes for the ultra-wide monitor as well. Now, if this was me, I would obviously do it in a heartbeat, but a lot of people don't want to put in that extra work. Speaking of the PC, it's rocking a 6700K, 16 gigs of RAM, and the MSI GTX 1070. It's interesting that he went with a black and blue case, but with black and red parts, and a setup with purple lighting. It's a very unusual color scheme. Zane also included a video of all his previous setups from the beginning all the way to his current setup today, and it's awesome to see where he started and how much work he put in to build something like this. Thank you, Zane, for entering. Wrapping up the video, we have a very clean setup from Zen Chili, who lives in Germany, and I'm actually featuring this setup on the show because of how clean it looks and the amazing picture quality. It may be a simple setup, but if you guys take the extra time to send me high resolution photos like this, then you are automatically entered. So Zen Chili is actually a German YouTuber, and this is the setup he uses for gaming and editing. Fun fact, he actually has a German version of Setup Wars on his channel, and he actually reached out and asked me permission a long time ago to start his own show, which I said it was okay, and now he's participating in Setup Wars, which is cool. One of the things I love about the setup is the lighting. It isn't over the top, and I feel like it's balanced nicely. There's an RGB lamp on the left side and another RGB source behind this PC, and we also got a warm lighting behind the monitor. I really like the separation in the middle. So both the keyboard and mouse are from Sharkoon, and even though he didn't drill a hole in the desk for cable management, he did a good job wrapping them together and routing them around the monitor stand. The rest of the cables are managed very well, using some zip ties to group up the wires and power strip together on one of the legs. He doesn't use any speakers, so the only audio source are the HyperX Cloud Stingers that he has resting on a headphone stand. Lastly, the PC powering the setup has a Ryzen 5 1400 and the ASUS GTX 1060. All in all, it's a very compact and clean setup. Not much I can recommend that will stay true to the minimalistic theme he's got going. Maybe some posters or wall shelves with stuff on them to reflect your personality or interests, but regardless, you have a very, very clean setup. Thank you for entering. So that is it for this episode of Setup Wars. As always, drop your comments below and vote on who you think has the best desk setup. And as always, if you enjoy the show, tossing a like would be awesome, and if you don't, please leave a dislike. I encourage you. I love your faces, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.